Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April 2nd, 2026 regular council meeting. We will be led in prayer by Pastor Keith Reisner, and if you'll all remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's bow together.
Yes.
Father, we're grateful to be able to join together in prayer on this a very holy weekend in so many ways. We're reminded, Lord, that what's being celebrated in so many countries of the world right now is the Last Supper and the betrayal of your Son, Jesus. Lord, those are great reminders for us. The love that you have for us, the care. And Lord, as there are many, many other things going on around us, yet, Lord, it helps put in perspective when we think about the sacrifice of your Son. So thank you. I pray, Lord, your blessing. Will all of us probably celebrate in different ways. We'll remember in different ways, different church traditions, different family traditions. Yet, Lord, I pray for your blessing upon all of it, that it'll help each of us to refocus on the great gift of your love, sacrifice, and on our parts, the repentance that's needed. We thank you, Lord, that it culminates this Sunday in the resurrection, and we praise you for that. Lord, we ask you for your guidance, for your wisdom, for your blessing on all that happens here tonight. Lord, we realize that so many times we're at a loss for what to do or how to do. And Lord, may we each in those times depend upon you. Now, Father, pray your blessing upon this time, these deliberations, and I pray it in the name of the risen one, the Lord Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Croucher.
Here.
Ms. Montgomery.
Here.
Mr. Profit.
Here.
Mr. Nichols.
Here.
Ms. Butts.
Here.
Mr. Rourke.
Here.
Mayor Perry.
Here. We have presentations. Number one is the Cardiac Save Award. Chief?
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Administration. Tonight, the first off is Cardiac Save Award. This happens frequently anymore with our great crews. This one's a little different. We have to travel through several jurisdictions to get to a hospital. This particular one, when the squad crew started to transport, the patient was stable. En route to the atrium, she became unstable and lost pulse. At the time, the crew obviously recognized that and called our mutual aid partners, Middletown, for assistance. So tonight here is Karen Ward from the atrium to get more of the story.
Hi, my name's Karen Ward. I'm the EMS coordinator for Atrium Medical Center. It's my utmost pleasure to be here again to honor a life saved by Trenton Fire Department. We were here a couple months ago doing the same thing. So thank you again for allowing Premier and the EMS Center of Excellence to come here and recognize some staff of Trenton and Middletown Fire Departments. In attendance with me is Wendy Mitchell, our Director of Nursing for the Emergency Department. So let me tell you a little bit more of the story about the life that was saved. Happened on February 3rd. Trenton Fire Department was called around 3:30 p.m. for chest pain at a residence. Upon EMS arrival, crew found Billy Hartmeyer sitting in a chair, calm, breathing normally, and was complaining of a heavy chest pain that started approximately 20 minutes ago. Billy was assisted to the stretcher and placed into the medic. The crew obtained IV access, a 12-lead, and an administered aspirin, and found a STEMI aka heart attack, on the 12 lead and called Atrium Medical Center to alert them to this so the hospital can ready staff to take care of Billy quickly once she arrived. While en route to the emergency department, Billy became unresponsive and stopped breathing. Billy was in a lethal rhythm called ventricular fibrillation, where the heart is just quivering and not pumping any blood to the body. CPR was initiated. Her heart was defibrillated one time, and crew breathed for her as well. Billy went into a flat line, or what's called a systole rhythm, next. CPR was continued. Trenton was transporting the patient through the city of Middletown to get to Atrium and decided to contact Middletown Fire to acquire more hands to help with the situation. And this shows the great collaboration between the two fire departments to deliver the amazing care to this patient. With more people now, more care at the same time could occur, and they checked her for a pulse and found Billy to have a pulse and was in a rhythm that was normal. Billy was given a medicine to help stabilize her heart from quivering further. She became more alert to the situation during transport. At Atrium, Billy continued to complain of chest pain, and with another EKG obtained, it was noticeable that Billy was experiencing a heart attack. She was quickly taken to the cath lab to help open the artery that was occluded and caused this life-threatening emergency. In the cath lab, her heart was found to have 70 to 80% stenosis in her left anterior descending artery, and her circumflex artery was 100% blocked with a visible blood clot. This artery supplies both upper and lower sides of the heart. It was only 21 minutes from the time Billy entered the doors of Atrium until she was having this procedure done in the cath lab. And only 53 minutes had lapsed since Billy was in the care of EMS and care was given over to the hospital. Billy only stayed inpatient at Atrium for 2 days and had a stent placed in her artery. And on March 11th, she returned and had another one placed in the other one. She's unable to attend tonight due to transportation issues and saying she does not drive at night, but she gladly wrote a short letter to the crews, if I can be allowed to read that.
Please.
So on February 3rd, I suffered a near fatal heart attack. I started feeling like fire was going through my chest, across down both arms and into my back. My daughter called for an ambulance. These two gentlemen arrived and got me into the ambulance and started treatment. They were very kind and reassuring things would be okay. On the way to the hospital, I coded. They performed chest compressions and used the paddles on me to revive me. Getting out of the ambulance at hospital, we were told to go straight to the heart cath lab. And at the elevator, we met up with my daughter. They told her I was doing fine, and they kept reassuring me that I was safe and going to be okay. How do you tell someone thank you for saving your life? Just saying thank you isn't enough. They will forever have our gratitude. Absolutely best wishes that they have a wonderful, fulfilled life. So I'd like to recognize the crew members involved in this life save. From Trenton, it's going to be Kenny Mitchell and Zach Sharp. And from Middletown, we're going to have John Scranton, Tom Lindsay, and Barrett Moore. Again, if we could pause and then take a picture right afterwards. That's done. Thank you, guys.
There he is.
You're welcome. I have to look first. Zach.
Very proud.
Thank you, Council.
You better get up.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Now, I'll remind everybody, as much as we love seeing everybody stay for the rest of council meeting, if you came for that presentation, you are free to go if you wish to. Thank you. Next, we have approval of minutes. Number one are the amended minutes of the March 12th, 2026 special council meeting. Number two are the minutes of the March 19th, 2026 regular council meeting. And number three are the minutes of the March 19th, 2026 council work session. Does anyone have any amendments to be made to the minutes as presented to us? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion we approve.
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Croucher and Councilwoman Butts. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Croucher,
Yay.
Miss Butts,
Yay.
Miss Montgomery,
Yay.
Mr. Profit,
Yay.
Mr. Nichols,
Yay.
Mr. Rourke,
Yay.
Mayor Perry.
Yay. All right, next we have consent agenda. Items of a routine or non-controversial nature that are expected to require no discussion or debate. Any council member may request removal of an item for separate consideration. And we have one item on there tonight, and it is a motion authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Safe Haven Baby Boxes Incorporated for the purpose of purchasing a baby box newborn safety incubator at the quoted initial fee of $16,000.00, annual fee of $600.00, and optional cost up to $7,500.00, for a total not to exceed $24,700.00, for use by the City of Trenton Fire Department, and authorizing the city manager to sign all documents related thereto. Would anyone like to ask a question? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion we approve.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Prophet and Councilman Nichols. Roll call, please.
Mr. Prophet,
Yay.
Mr. Nichols,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Croucher,
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery,
Yay.
Ms. Butts,
Yay.
Mr. Rourke,
Yay.
Mayor Perry.
Yay. Next, we have correspondence. We have the February 9th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting minutes and the February 10th, 2026 Park and Recreation Board meeting minutes. Do members of either of those boards have anything to brief council on?
No.
All right. We'll move on to audience of public. So to preserve time and keep the meeting at around the 2-hour mark for our staff, we do ask that we keep it brief. I want everyone that wants to speak to speak. There is no time that we keep up here, but we do ask that you be brief. We ask that you not attack members of public personally. Comments shall be addressed to council as a whole. While comments are open to all, taxpayers of the city of Trenton and the previous sign-ups will have the floor first. The person speaking from the lectern has the floor. During their time, no one else shall speak. After the speaker is finished, council and staff will answer any questions if they wish. And council will not answer theoretical questions, and if litigation is presented or anything to do with court's lawsuit, we will refer it to our attorney since we're not lawyers. All right, seeing that, we'll start with one. We had an online question, and this is from Mr. Eric Lucas. He said, I'd like to address the incident at Edgewood Primary School where a water meter issue led to significant flooding and a temporary school closure. While damage reportedly exceeded $200,000, this raises concerns about both the disruption to students and the financial impact on taxpayers. Per JWF specialty, the city employee failed to tighten a 2-inch flange on the new smart meter. I understand that issues can happen, and that my intent is not to place blame, but to ensure transparency and accountability moving forward. Can the city explain what happened, and more importantly, what specific steps, such as procedural changes, inspections, or verification process will be implemented to prevent something like this from occurring in the future? Thank you, Mr. Lucas, for putting that online, and seeing that we had time to talk to City Manager Nichols. And City Manager Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor Perry. This was a human error issue. There were 2 bolts that were not completely tightened. The meter was charged back up with water while staff was there, and it was not leaking at the time. So that was the issue. Moving forward, all interior and exterior meter installs larger than 3/4 and 5/8 will be inspected by a supervisor to make sure that everything is tightened and in place as it should be.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. And I also want to say something to the community about this to someone. As soon as the incident happened, Mr. Philpott spoke to me, the superintendent of the schools, and I will say it was very professional. He just really what he said is that it's going to be investigated by the insurance companies. There's no ill will either way, and whatever they come up with is what what happened and we'll take care of it. And we both agreed. So I want to thank him. That was something that could get contentious, and I want to, again, thank him for how he handled it. Seeing that, did we have any signups?
We do have signups. I left the sign up sheet up front just in case if everyone came in at 7:30, but we did have some signups.
Okay, could you grab it, please?
Yes.
Mr. Dale Perry. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank you. I know it's been a long journey for the baby box. Love it. I can't say enough about it. Thank you. Following through and getting it in. Second thing is, I did talk to the postmaster today, and I know that's coming up. Just a couple of questions I've got on the post office box. Is this ordinance just for the, more or less, the gang boxes or cluster boxes and anything over 4 mailboxes?
Mr. Zipfel, could you speak to that, please? Okay.
Well, the second thing also, after talking to him, and I know I've mentioned it before, if we would move those mailboxes, the cluster boxes, to by the stop sign, there's a 30-foot area from the stop sign back that actually you cannot park there. He said if we would, instead of buying all the no parking sign, the signs, the manpower and everything, if we as a city would pour a 4x4 square, 8 inches deep, he could take care of moving the boxes. The post office would pay for those boxes. You wouldn't need the manpower as far as signage. You wouldn't have to include the police because there's already an ordinance in place for it. So just something to consider. Also, he asked me to ask the city. I don't know who the developer is for Trenton Square. I don't know if it's Bayer and Becker, but he asked could they come to the post office and also someone from the city to talk. Let's get the Trenton Square correct before it ever goes in. I may be wrong, but I don't think there was ever a dedicated area for that whole area. So I just want to consider that as an option. I think it would be, pretty easy to move. And he said that's all it would take. So just to let you know, appreciate your time. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so it would be the community mailboxes and not individual.
It's 4 more mailboxes grouped together in one location.
That's what I thought of.
Okay, good citizen.
Good evening, the Honorable Mayor Ryan Perry and members of council. As I signed in under Good Citizen, I will still state for the record, my name is Cody Agee. I live at 812 Barrington Court, Trenton, Ohio. I'm happy to be a citizen here at Trenton. I know a lot of the faces up there on the council, a few out here in the audience, but tonight there's a few things that I wanted to discuss. First, on the consent agenda, I understand that is supposed to be a non-controversial item, but ultimately that was spending of tax dollars, city money come from the citizens. And I don't believe that anyone in the audience and public would have had the opportunity to speak on how they felt about it. I understand it might not be controversial to anyone up there on council, but I would request moving forward that any time that money is to be spent or legislation to be passed, for that to take place after citizens have the opportunity to state how they feel about it. So, second off, I also want to speak to 10-2026 452.03, Section A18. That also has to do with the cluster boxes, as the former speaker was up here. This does come up along where I live. There are cluster boxes up and down Edgewood Drive. I think there are a few other ones that are out there throughout the city. I've had several elderly citizens, ask me questions about it, knowing that I used to have dealings with the city, that their medicines wouldn't get delivered because boxes were blocked by a vehicle. A few years ago, went to the postmaster, explained it to him. He stated that that would have to be something that the city changed. So I know that that is up tonight. I appreciate those on council that has made that happen, and hopefully that is something that we can get taken care of. I'll also kind of speak to the former speaker that was up here, Mr. Del Perry. Putting things at the end of the street, I understand, the saving of the money, but also Edgewood Drive is a highly traveled street, and if putting mailboxes down in that section, we have to worry about whether or not citizens' safety would be at risk, where the current cluster boxes are staggered down the street. I can kind of speak to those 4 or 5 streets over there. There's one half, about a quarter way down, and then 3/4 way down. So if you put it at one end of the street, now you also have individuals that if they weren't to get it while they're in their car, walking down, things like that. So we can take that into consideration. I like the saving money part, honestly, but also the safety of the public. I don't think there's a dollar amount you put on that. So third, I'd like to thank all that was involved with the moving of the Veterans Memorial. I think that is something is the right direction. I've had many conversations with members of the public who feel that that was what should take place. So I am appreciative of all those that work to make that happen. And moving forward, I think that having it there is more visible and a better way to honor our veterans. Lastly, that's going to bring to something I'd like to talk about, no names on plaques. There's conversations that's taken place in the past, about people's egos, that people want their names on things. I think this could be some way maybe moving forward that we make sure that we stop that practice as a city. Not necessarily saying on the veterans one, I think there's a lot of individuals that would agree, if not almost everyone, that there should not be any elected official or city official's name on a plaque that's being dedicated to the veterans. I think we're all in agreement there, hopefully. Secondary, though, to that is even any new city buildings, any things that the city spends taxpayer dollars on. I think it's great, and everybody looks to see their name on things. I always use the analogy when you get your yearbook, for us that can remember them, or some of us have a little harder time, the first thing people usually do is to look through, see their name, see their face. Makes people feel good. I get that, but when it comes to the government and spending of tax dollars and putting names of individuals, on plaques, dedicating buildings to, I have some concern. I'm not saying that we need to remove current plaques that are there and try to delete history, but there are several buildings within this city that have names of individuals on it who no longer work here for good reasons. For reasons that, whether it was threatening employees, or doing things that were justified to be terminated. And I know as an employee of any company, if I was to walk into a building and I had to look at a former boss's name after they made certain accusations that were proven to be true, that's something I wouldn't want to see. I understand it's something that's been done. It's done in a lot of different cities. But I think this is a time for us to move forward. And when these things are being done, it's dedicated to the citizens of Trenton, and not having, names on plaques. So those are the 4 things that I have. It's great seeing everybody up here. I welcome the new council members that are starting their new terms and existing terms. I know how difficult it can be and how frustrating it can be, but I do thank every one of you for doing the best that you possibly can do with the information you're provided.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Well, thank you for blessing me too. I appreciate that. So, good seeing everybody.
You as well. Concerned citizen.
Concerned citizen too?
Yes.
That's not me.
Okay, Joshua Bloom.
Hi, I'm Joshua Bloom, 308 Cary Street, lifelong resident of the city, and actually went to high school with Cody, so I don't know if I would agree I'm a good citizen, but he seems to be okay. I don't think I would agree with the good citizen thing since I know you, but I'm doing all right. I'm here concerned about the data center that is going in. Today, the Ohio Ballot Board voted unanimously to approve a proposed constitutional amendment to ban data centers that use over 25 megawatts of energy per month. That is now currently being sent out statewide to collect signatures to put a ballot on this November's election. I was wanting to see, in light of that ballot issue coming up, potentially, would the council be open to voting on a moratorium on any final approvals for the data center that's going in until that ballot issue plays out and the voices of the Ohio citizens have been heard? Thank you for the council's time.
Thank you. And we'll go, I will answer that real quick. We're not going to answer theoretical questions. There would be a lot that would go into any decision making, and just putting it as a yes or a no answer doesn't take in those things into account. We'll go to Jake Davis.
Good evening, members of the council. Thank you all for allowing me to speak again. My name is Jake Davis. Citizens of Trenton have the right to know the truth about the data center project, and today I'm here to demand transparency and accountability. The March 30th, 2026 Planning Commission session on Monday lasted barely 10 minutes. There was no public comment, even as citizens in the room were prepared to speak. The abruptness of the meeting, though legal as an administrative session, gave the impression of secrecy and disregard for public participation. Citizens noticed, we reacted, and time will judge the optics of that day. At the end of the meeting, I submitted a written statement for the record to Mr. Zeffel, which he accepted, ensuring it would make it to the proper channels. I'd like to thank him for doing so. And I hope to see it fully reflected in the meeting minutes, as it captures concerns that go beyond the meeting summary and talking points. I'm here today to speak on what is at stake with this proposed data center project in Trenton. This project is massive, with significant implications for our infrastructure, environment, community, and the town that you're elected to serve. The public deserves to know how decisions are being made, who is influencing them, and on what basis. Over the course of the last 5 months, my fellow citizens and I all have requested many public records, many of which seem to be of the same 543 documents that I have received regarding everything but the communications that I requested on March 5th. I want to be clear. The real answers do not lie in summaries, talking points, traffic studies, or other partial documents. They lie in the communications between the city and Prologis. I requested these communications on March 5th, 2026, the very day that Motion 27-2026 was proposed. And nearly a month later, the vast majority of these communications have still not been produced. Motion 27-2026, which limited public participation, is a byproduct of this process, yet is part of a larger story. Citizens are right to ask what discussions were happening behind closed doors and why we were being excluded from the conversation. In my hand is the confidentiality agreement between the City of Trenton and Prologis, executed on October 20th, 2025. This agreement proves beyond dispute that substantial communications occurred regarding this data center project. I'd like to turn to page 2, which I've highlighted a key area of this agreement. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary in this agreement, the receiving party's obligations hereunder are subject to all applicable law, including without limitation the Ohio Public Records Act, Revised Code 149.43. The receiving party may disclose any material if and to the extent required by such law without prior notice to the disclosing party, and any such disclosure shall not constitute a breach of this agreement. These communications are critical to understanding decisions being made. These records did not create themselves. They require discussion, coordination, and decision making. They exist. The question is, where are they? I have acted reasonably, patiently, and in good faith throughout this process. The lack of transparency is not a minor oversight. It erodes public trust, undermines accountability, and leaves citizens in the dark about a project that directly affects our lives and our community. I am calling on this council to take full responsibility in ensuring the public that all communications, records, and documents related to this project and Motion 27, 2026 are fully identified, preserved, and made accessible. Anything less is not accountability, it's avoidance. The citizens are watching, and we are engaged in history will judge this council not by the speed of votes, not by the passing of motions, and not by the appearance of compliance, but by the integrity of the process itself. Integrity is more than following rules. It is ensuring transparency, documenting deliberations fully, respecting public participation, and making decisions based on facts and accountability rather than convenience or expedience. By failing to produce the communications that we know exist, by limiting public comment, and by rushing decisions without full scrutiny, the council risks eroding the very trust that allows this government to function. The citizens of Trenton and the communities that will be impacted by this project all deserve nothing less than a process that is complete, transparent, and accountable. Anything less is a failure of governance, and history is going to remember it as such. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Beresford, you were getting those records, correct? We had a discussion about that.
And I'll defer that to Mr. Ziffel.
Mr. Ziffel?
I work with Tom Allen, but we've been doing this on a rolling production. We're producing all records that are public records, not exempt from disclosure. Complies with ORC 14943.
Yep. And I just want to clarify this, that with the non-disclosure, number one, the non-disclosure doesn't mean that you don't have to supply documents that you legally are requested to. I think that's one of the misconceptions, is that when you sign a non-disclosure, you don't disclose any of it. No, Ohio law still trumps a non-disclosure agreement. Number two, to clarify, the non-disclosure is with the city. The council members have never signed a non-disclosure agreement. We are bound by executive session just as we are with any other business. So I've said this before, there's really not a reason for us to sign a non-disclosure. I know that in the media, it's been a big thing that the council signed a non-disclosure agreement, and I'll be honest, I have no idea why they would do that. They're already bound. And for a non-disclosure agreement, the penalties are minimal. If you breach executive session, you are, a misdemeanor? It's a misdemeanor 4 if you break executive session. So the penalties are considerably more at that point. Okay, Melinda Zemper. Am I correct with that? Yeah. Awesome.
Hello. My name is Melinda Zemper. I live in Westchester, and I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. I wanted to talk about the data center. I'm a board member at Save Ohio Parks, a statewide nonprofit dedicated to educating the public about public health, environmental, and planet warming harms of fracking for natural gas under Ohio's state parks and public lands. It's possible that this data center, powered by methane gas, also known as natural gas, would be gas extracted from our taxpayer-supported state parks and public lands, which are fracked by Ohio state government at this point. A 250 megawatt data center will produce between 1.1 and 1.3 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent. That includes methane, nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, VOCs, and particulate matter. These emissions will impair our respiratory health while accelerating climate warming and climate change. The greenhouse gas emissions of the Mila Center are equivalent to 217 to 220,000 additional gas-powered cars driving through the Trenton area every year. Those emissions will continue annually for the lifespan of the project, which may average between 20 and 30 years. We know that young children living within 1 mile of a fracked well pad suffer from lymphomas, which is a rare form of cancer, at the rate of 5 to 7 times the rate of people who live farther away. People living nearby can also suffer from increased asthmas, COPD, low fertility, low thyroid, hormone disruption, and other respiratory disease. If this data center is powered by natural gas, Ohioans will experience a double whammy of methane emissions pollution, both at the point of extraction in Appalachian, Ohio, where the fracking occurs, and also at the point of energy generation here in Trenton. Your natural gas could come from, at this point, Salt Fork State Park, Egypt Valley Wildlife Area, an Ohio Department of Transportation right-of-way, or even an Ohio State prison, because those are areas that are already been fracked over the last 3 years. The Mila Data Center may be a local project, but the effect of its dangerous greenhouse emissions will be felt regionally, statewide, nationally, and even globally. And why do I say that? Because right now we are in the 4th year of the hottest global temperatures ever recorded. Methane gas is 86 times more potent than carbon dioxide over a 20-year period. It heats the atmosphere, it warms the planet, and it causes climate change. 97% of all climate scientists worldwide and the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change say that we need to cut global greenhouse emissions 40% by 2030, that's 4 years, to stay within 1.5 degrees Celsius warming and mitigate the worst effects of climate change. At 1.5, 70 to 90% of all our coral reefs will die. That's really bad. And that will start a domino effect of fish dying, the global fishing industry being severely inhibited and dying, stilling of the AMOC meridional oscillating current, and a whole host of other things besides what we know of today, which is melting glaciers, increased wildfires, increased floods, lots of bad things. Running this data center on natural gas will impair our health, destroy biodiversity in our state parks and public lands, pollute the air, and make climate change worse. In the absence of a federal EPA, or even an Ohio EPA that effectively regulates air pollution, it's up to local governments to protect citizen health and the environment. It's also possible, though, to run the data center on renewable energy. I ask you to pause the Mila Center. The state is forming a commission to study the true health, water, energy, and environmental costs of data centers. I don't know if you've heard about that. We will also elect a new governor in November, and that governor could very well expand much-needed renewable energy in Ohio. Most of us really want the same things in life. We want good health, we want good jobs, we want cheap, reliable, and emissions-free energy. And many of us also want to shift state energy policy to preserve our viable planet for our children and grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can make this available to anyone or send it to you if you want to check sources. I have a source materials for all the statistics at the end.
Please email it to Mr. Beresford.
Sure.
We'll take care of it from there. Mrs. Angie Markham.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, staff, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. It's been brought up a lot of times since the news broke in October by the previous council, some members of the current council, other people representing the city, that residents are basically to blame for not being here sooner to talk about the data center and their concerns. It should be noted that a lot of people, myself included, have concerns about how well the city communicated that for us to be here and discuss it, but we won't rehash that. The reason I bring this up today is because there are 2 additional Woodsdale area farms being advertised on Jobs Ohio as available for development. They are known in the community as the Proschel Farm and the Watson Farm. I believe Trenton purchased the Proschel Farm in September of 2024, although it remains part of Madison Township at present. It is reasonable to assume that Trenton has purchased this land to expand the industrial park and possibly to expand their data center footprint, whether that is with Prologis or another developer. Since residents were blamed for not speaking up about the current project before the 141 acres were sold to Prologis last year, my intent today is to take away that excuse from this council in regard to the Proschel Farm, the Watson Farm, or any other land in and around Trenton that the city may be eyeing. So I want to go on record in opposition to any more land being sold for data center development. I do not support data centers in our community. I do not support the Prologis project, Project Mila, and I do not support any efforts by this council, the city manager, the Trenton Community Improvement Corporation, or any joint economic development districts in which Trenton is involved to bring any additional data centers to Trenton, Woodsdale, or the surrounding communities. They are not welcome here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now I will entertain Trenton citizens or taxpayers. I think I said taxpayers before.
Hello, Amy, Roseford Avenue. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening. So thank you for letting me speak. Kind of not shocked that the site plan was approved. I mean, when I looked at the approval process, this is what you have to be approved for a 1 million square foot industrial system. So, there's not much to go there. And the fact that Trenton changed the zoning to kind of help meet the needs of the data center, not too surprising there. I'm just really saddened. I'm saddened because it's a reality. It hasn't ever been stated by city council or anybody that it's a done deal, but we all know now that it is, and that's kind of a shame. I'm concerned about the potential harms. Sad that Trenton will not be the small town where many long-term residents and my family chose to live and retire. A small town with green grass and cornfields. It'll be a town full of townhouses, industrial monstrosities, and if I wanted to live among that, I would have moved to Liberty Center. My next point relates to a video from August, Mayor Perry, where you were in Wilmington. That kind of upset me because I would have loved to have had that in Trenton. I would have loved for you to speak to all of that in Trenton to the residents here. It would have been easier for me to accept hearing it kind of in this area as opposed to online. You said that in the meeting, you said there's challenges that are faced, and one of them was infrastructure, the fact that we have no land, but you're purchasing more. And then you said the second one was water. And I didn't understand that because, all this, we've had tons of water, and Miller uses tons of water, so we always have water. And then you said, but now we're on the opposite, we're looking for water. That Prologis was going to help rebuild the water treatment facility, but then you said that Trenton and Southwest Water can't possibly give them enough water. So I'm not sure, is the new water tower going to be what's supplying the data center? Is that why it's being built? That's kind of, I guess, my question. Or they were drilling on the land. Did they drill directly down into the aquifer and draw the water themselves without really anybody knowing? I mean, that's a concern of mine. So with per Angie, like Angie said, with it being out there that this is known and that you have purchased the land, I'm making it known also here today, and that I am strongly against bringing any more data centers, or any what I feel are harmful industry to Trenton, near Trenton, or around Trenton. And I'm requesting that citizens of Trenton stand up and make our voices a little louder to show that we are more mighty than what's showing up here. That if you're really against it, to show up to express that. At every council meeting, council says at the end, we're happy to have you here. Come up and talk to us. We're open. Email us. Well, I have sent an email. I still have yet received a response. And I also discussed some information with a council member. And then during a council meeting, that council member was heard, Ms. Montgomery, leaned over to Mr. Prophet and said, she lied. I don't trust her. I'm not telling her diddly. And then another time while I was talking, another council member said, oh, she's done. So I come up here and I talk and I say the things I'm saying. But then when people hear these comments online or watching the videos, how do you think that makes them feel? Does it make them feel welcome to come, you know what I mean, and want to say things to you, or to stand up here and be made fun of for Facebook posts that you make? So I'm just saying it's not a very welcoming atmosphere on some sides, but then at the end you say, hey, come up here. So because of what Mrs. Montgomery said, I wanted to find out what I said. So I confronted her. I asked her about it. And I was met with a hand in my face.
You need to hold on. This is a personal dispute between two neighbors.
No. This is
something that happened because of a personal dispute between the two of you that happened at your homes.
No, this happened here. This is where she made the comment that I lied, that other people heard and asked me about. So I would like to say mainly that I think the decorum of council needs to meet the same thing that we are being asked to meet. The facial expressions, the body language, and stuff that people see, it's not very becoming and professional of some of the council members. I'm just saying. So I have nothing against Ms. Montgomery. I was trying to handle the situation professionally after the meeting, and I'm done. Basically with that. I mean, but what I got was very unprofessional and not what I would expect from a council member. Okay. So what I wanted to say was, Mrs. Montgomery, your words exactly. We need unity, clarity, and order. And I'm just asking for that. Now I'm going to move on to the concerns I have. The splash pad that's being built. I do hope that you have a huge liability and waiver or insurance on that, because of the one recently in Westchester, that somebody got injured and then it was closed down. So I'm just really concerned that we have a lot of safety things in there for the kids or whoever is using the splash pad, so that hopefully kids don't get injured. Also, the other thing I wanted to mention was that this past Sunday I drove past the site, the Prologis site, and they were doing construction on the Sunday. So I've asked it, and it's not been answered. Is there something that's going to prevent them from being able to do 24/7 construction? I just don't want the people that are surrounding it to have to deal with that for 10 years of 24/7 construction. So thank you.
Thank you. I want to answer a couple things first, and I'm glad you asked that because I heard about it and have been questioned a couple times about that. Number one, that round table that was in Wilmington was a member of their public wants to switch Wilmington to a chartered city, as Trenton is. So as a chartered city, we have a little bit more flexibility with the ORC to change things more quickly. And they asked me to please speak about the differences between a chartered city and a non-chartered city as they're trying to get their city chartered. So that wasn't about anything. A question for a data center came up because they were going through that as well. I'm sure everybody knows. But that was one question that came up. But the thing was actually for speaking for chartered cities versus non-chartered cities. Now, with the water thing, yes, I said that because they were looking at 20 million gallons a day in Wilmington. And our original estimates when we were speaking were around there, and it was, we can't provide that much. And we all know that. We've said that before, but as it refined down, it became, what was it, 3 a day before? And then finally it went to 24 million a year?
About that.
Yeah.
They've requested the ERUs that I've presented a couple times now, and that's still their expected peak usage during the warmer. I think they said it's above 81 degrees outside that they'll be using.
Yeah. So I made that comment based on 10 to 20 million gallons a day going in there as what their data center was talking about. Here, when we're averaging 24 million a year and they're only cooling with water when it's over 81 degrees, we have more than enough water to do that. And they cannot by law drill directly into the aquifer. That is one of the advantages of them being in Trenton. If they were, I've stated before, if they were in the township, they could drill wells and take water out of the aquifer, just as Miller takes 2.5 million gallons per day straight out of the aquifer. Them being in the city, they cannot take out of the aquifer, and any waste they have has to go through a sewer. Even if Ohio passes that you're allowed to dispose of your waste into waterways, which I haven't kept up on that. They're required by law to put all their water through the sewer. So that are two advantages of this being in the city versus in the township, is that we control their water supply. They have to buy it from us. And number two, they have to get rid of any waste in the sewer instead of changing laws like is rumored to happen. Like I said, I haven't kept up with that. All right.
They requested it's the 192 ERUs at 2.3 million. It's the same as the previous presentation.
Okay. All right. I'll take another citizen of Trenton.
Good evening, Mayor, ladies, gentlemen, everyone. My name's Barry, mayor of a neighbor of Mr. Perry up here, just a few houses down on First Street. I've got to drive around the last couple of days, and there is things going on in the city, lots of improvements, a lot of growth, a lot of things that some of it are good, some of it are bad, but that's how everybody sees it differently. But one of the things that came to light to me the past couple of days was something that was held to a standard to another business that was trying to come into an IG district a few years back. I won't name them, but I'll read part of it. The city also claims that other requested information not provided by specifications regarding noise emission, fugitive dust emissions, potential, well, I'll have to read that one, and groundwater impact and contamination is required under section 1252.14A of the code, which provides that the IG zoning district is established to create and protect areas for industries which require large sites and should be isolated from other land uses by virtue of their external effects, such as heavy traffic generation, open storage of materials, bulk storage of dangerous chemicals, and possible emission of noise, glare, dust, odor, smoke, and other offensive characteristics. This isn't our standard Dunkin' Donuts. This is a nearly 1 billion square foot facility. There are differences. And I hope that what was held to this company, and most of you know what it is, I hope that same standard applies to Prologis. If it don't, then I hope that it can sooner than later, because that's going to affect the safety and health of this entire community. And that's what I think is most important, is safety and health. I've said that before, and I'll say it again, and I'll always say it. That's our most important thing here, safety and health. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens of Trenton? All right, we'll take members of the general public if you would like to speak.
Mayor, council, you've
Good
seen my
evening.
face a few times, but this is the only time I've been prompted to say something. On Monday evening, the public was led to believe that the Planning Commission meeting was a review only. Instead, in under 10 minutes, without taking a single question, they pushed through an approval. At the same time, admittedly, from the city manager, most critical engineering components, stormwater, utilities, grading, are still unresolved. So let's be clear. What exactly did the Planning Commission approve? Because it was certainly not a complete plan. Those are not small details. Those are the backbone of the project. Now, if those results come back with issues, then what? Does the public get a say? Or was that an opportunity just to quietly take it off the table Monday night? Approving something this significant before all the facts are in doesn't raise concerns. It makes an outcome look predetermined. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any additional?
Hi, Erica Updike, Liberty Township resident. Couple different thoughts. Some things have already been addressed by other people. The planning meeting, the agenda was very vague. No details, just said it'll be a review, and that's it. I would like to echo the last question. What was actually approved? It seems like at every turn, so much of the information that's being handed to the public seems just straight from Prologis. And every single pushback is an accusation against members of the public, claiming that we are spreading misinformation just because we are able to find information that contradicts the information that you have been given. The appearance of impropriety across so many different meetings, even in my short time being involved in this, just a few months, the appearance of impropriety does this council no favors. I think, unfortunately, you've seen that with more and more public. Like with the news coming, it's not looking great. Unable to look the public in the eye while approving a project that is not in the best interest of the community at large is not a good look. A 10-minute meeting when it was claimed to be a review. No one knows what was reviewed and it was approved in 10 minutes. More things like in previous meetings, passing notes, hot mic comments, quick approval meetings, minutes in meetings are omitting details and comments made by council members and members of the public. Does not give this member of the public any confidence that things are being done honestly and truthfully. It's not any one thing, but when things continue to happen over and over and over again, and then to be accused of making comments that I, as a member of the public, am lying, that I, as a member of the public who is not able to come here every single meeting, that I just need to be quiet and I just need to believe everything that I'm told. No, that's not how this works either. I would also like to agree on previous member of the public's comment. I would also agree that I think a petition on a moratorium for data centers in either this one currently with Project Mila or any others coming forward in whatever way, whatever city, township, any other way that things like this seem to keep getting twisted and entered in and progress being made, I think it is very logical and reasonable that a moratorium needs to happen, especially before the statewide moratorium, before that has been decided statewide. This is not just about this town. You are not the only town, city, township, locality that is being targeted. It is okay to say, we didn't realize that we were targeted and we got hoodwinked. It is okay to say that and take a pause. That feels reasonable. Moving to the original reason how I got involved in this, the historic home on Pearson that the city has purchased, the original John K. Augsburger home, who is the grandfather of Esther Price, and I believe has more local interest. I believe there should be a petition to not move forward right now with any plans for demolition of that home. Even if whatever water projects continue to happen on that locality, even if just the water gets cut off, that would not be the first time that house did not have utilities. To just let it sit for a minute and allow people that could save the home, whether on location or to move it, I think that would be reasonable. I hate to break it to those of us getting older, but a historic home is classified as 50 years and older. I know that's kind of hard to hear that basically 1975 tri-level is technically a historic home. Also, all old homes south of Trenton or any of the surrounding townships, they're all on the historic register. They're all Augsburger family homes. Unfortunately, historic register does not prevent demolition. It offers no demolition protection, as we can see. But moving forward, I think the city and local townships have a responsibility to protect those homes, even if that means allowing them to be move towards Chisholm, move somewhere else. Please do not just demolish them. This fertile farmland is too valuable to destroy with data centers or solar farms. It can never be moved back to farmland after that. Regenerative farming is cycling back to popularity, where farmers can basically have a great farm career with less land, less chemicals, and with animals. Cities have actually purchased farm and leased as land conservancies, so that can be an option too. It does not have to be a data center on our aquifer. And just news from a neighbor in Liberty Township. Liberty Township is also moving forward to banning data centers. Westchester Township also is. Other neighboring communities are. A big part of that is because of the hot mess that this has turned into. They're seeing the writing on the wall that they don't want that in their towns or their townships either. So with that, thank you for allowing members of the public, not just City of Trenton residents, to speak, because this is more than just City of Trenton. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the general public? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to unfinished business. I'll entertain a motion that we read items 1 and 2 under unfinished business by title only.
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Croucher and Councilwoman Butts. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Croucher?
Yay.
Ms. Butts?
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery?
Yay.
Mr. Prophet?
Yay.
Mr. Nichols?
Yay.
Mr. Rourke?
Yay.
Mayor Perry?
Yay. Mr. Ziffel.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 1, an ordinance amending section 452.03 of the codified ordinances of the City of Trenton, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
All right. I will entertain a motion to approve unless anyone has any questions. Right? Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Croucher and Councilwoman Butts. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Croucher?
Yay.
Ms. Butts?
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery?
Yay.
Mr. Prophet?
Yay.
Mr. Nichols?
Yay.
Mr. Rourke?
Yay.
Mayor Perry?
Yay. Mr. Ziffel.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 2, an ordinance to accept, modify, or reject the final replat record plat for Trenton Square, Section 2, including lots 4988, 4994, 5087, 5088, 5089, 5092, and 5093, Section 31, Town 2, Range 4, Congress lands west of the Miami River, City of Trenton, Republic.
Thank you, Mr. Ziffel. Are there any questions? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Butts and Councilman Rourke. Roll call, please.
Ms. Butts?
Yay.
Mr. Rourke?
Yay.
Vice Mayor Croucher?
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery?
Yay.
Mr. Prophet?
Yay.
Mr. Nichols?
Yay.
Mayor Perry?
Yay. We have no public hearings or new business, so we'll move on to legislation. I will entertain a motion that we read items 1 through 3 under legislation by title only.
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Croucher and Councilwoman Butts. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Croucher,
Yay.
Ms. Butts,
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery,
Yay.
Mr. Profit,
Yay.
Mr. Nichols,
Yay.
Mr. Rourke,
Yay.
Mayor Perry.
Yay. Mr. Ziffel.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 1, a resolution approving a change in location for the proposed Veterans Memorial from Community Park to the Municipal Complex located at Trenton Square. Item 2, a resolution amending resolution number 13-2025 to approve a change in location for the static display from Community Park to the Municipal Complex located at Trenton Square. Item 3, an ordinance establishing section 1610.11 of the codified ordinances of the City of Trenton, Ohio, pursuant to 2025 Ohio Fire Code Section 506.1, authorizing the fire code official to require all new commercial occupancies to install a key box for fire department access and be maintained at all times, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Ziffel. Are there any discussions on the 3 items that were just read?
I would like to ask on number 2, as far as moving the static display program. The idea on the static display program was the memorial would be at the park, and I do not believe that we should continue with the static display program, moving it to the city building.
What was, Mr. Nichols, what was the static display that we were going to put? Which one did we request?
So the program has changed in the last year and a half. Initially, the U.S. Army surplus program had requirements, and the city had to request whether it be a tank or a helicopter or something of that nature. And then when those items became available, they would reach out to the organizations on their list. They have since changed that program. Now, instead of having a list of organizations for them to deal with, as well as for organizations to select a certain item, whether it be a tank, piece of military equipment, etc. Now the program, as it exists, they send out a list with pictures of all the available surplus equipment, and the communities can prioritize 1, 2, 3 what items they would like. So there is, at this point, there is no set piece of equipment. It is more so just picking whatever is available, and then the U.S. Army surplus program would decide whether or not we would get it.
Question, aren't we responsible for going and picking it up and transporting it to the city of Trenton if we was to do that?
That is correct. We would be responsible for any painting, any demilitarization associated with it, transportation of equipment, etc. Everything would be the city of Trenton's cost.
And I believe, based on that information, the Parks Board, and we had pictures of them, and there would be a lot of work to get those back up to. So we had opted to not even worry about that this time and look at it in the future, possibly. So if that's the case, then we wouldn't even need that ordinance at all, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, correct.
So what does council think? Do we just go ahead and take that ordinance off of second reading?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yes.
I don't think it's going to hurt anything for it to be there. And, you know, if we do, like Mr. Nichols said, this comes out with the available things. If something good should pop up, we'd already have this in place.
Okay.
I mean, this ordinance doesn't tie us to doing it at any specific time or any specific item or location.
Well, if we're going to pay for transportation and possibly upkeep on it or getting it fixed, that money goes straight to the Veterans Memorial so we could get this thing rolling instead of trying
Well, yeah, I
to
wouldn't
get
want to take
piece
any
of
money away from the
dismissed
Veterans Memorial
equipment
itself to
and
do
pay out of
this.
the budget to get it here.
Yeah.
I do want to note that the original resolution has the static display at Community Park, so it is tied to that location. So if the intent was to move it, that's the purpose of this road.
This takes that location requirement away.
Location.
So we would say that it would be where at the
It
city
could be at
building
the
where the
memorial for
Veterans
you.
Memorial is, if we decide to do it. We're not tied into doing it, correct?
I believe so.
Correct. This is just in regards to the application process. During that application process with publicly land, the council had to pass a resolution to allow the use of that in public land. So that was what that resolution entailed.
Okay, so ultimately it'll come back to council regardless. So if it's something that we really don't want in front of our city building, we have the right, even at the end of it, to just say no, thank you.
Correct. So if that were to be the case, I would not be submitting any request to the U.S. Army Surplus Program. If the intent is looking through the list, Parks Board and Council decide that we don't want any of that equipment at the city building, I would not participate, much like I did not the last go around.
Okay. I think the best way forward then is we'll just leave it for the second reading, and we'll think about it for the 2 weeks. If it passes, it passes. If it doesn't, well, then it just dies there. All right, we'll move on to reports. Mr. Ziffel. Thank you. Mr. Beresford.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to say during the work session there was discussion about the polls. I just want to say that during the regular council meeting, there were 30 polls that were identified, and they will be submitted to Duke, and that will be a 4-month process. And just want to wish everyone a happy Easter.
Thank you very much. City Manager Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor Perry. I have no reports this evening.
Thank you very much. Financial Director, Mr. Masisklis.
Thank you, Mayor Perry. Briefly, I did have the opportunity to attend a data center and sustainable development meeting at the University of Cincinnati. A couple of folks here. There was some quality information presented. There was some information about TIFs specifically, that some cities do it a little bit differently than the city of Trenton. I believe in other states, private development can actually be supported by TIF dollars. In the state of Ohio, that is not the case. Public development that otherwise would have been the requirement of the private entity to pay for, but still public infrastructure can be paid with TIF dollars. However, that has not been the practice of this city, and that is not how our city TIFs are set up. So the revenues to our TIFs are at the discretion of the city council. We do not have any economic development agreements in place, nor, to my knowledge, are any pending that would put us on the hook for what would otherwise be the requirement of the private development.
Thank you, Mr. Masisklis. On to audience of council, Mr. Rourke.
I really enjoyed the prayer tonight before the council meeting, and I'd like to thank our first responders and thank God that lady comes out be okay. My wife just recently had some stents put in her arteries and stuff, and had some serious stuff. So I'm really thankful for our first responders, and that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Rourke. Mr. Prophet.
Thank you to everybody that came out tonight. I've been on council for 3 months, and that's already the second cardiac save presentation, so that's pretty amazing. Tomorrow is first Friday of the month, Coffee with a Cop at State Street Coffee at 7 a.m. A lot of people say that they usually can't make it to it because it conflicts with their work schedule. A lot of people are off tomorrow for Good Friday. If there's a time to make it, please make it tomorrow. That'd be great. And then I wanted to thank everybody that serves on boards and commissions in the city. Parks Board, I served on it for a year or so. They're doing amazing things. And then the meeting on Monday, I would just wish that if you have issues with what's going on, address it with the 7 of us up here. Please be aware of Planning Commission's role. The people that sit up there with me are great people. and they were just following the guidelines that are given to them by our charter. They were not doing anything. They didn't use their opinion on it. They followed the rules. If you have an issue, it's the 7 of us up here. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
I would also like to again say another thank you to the crew that saved that life. That's amazing. I was in healthcare for over 45 years, and that door to cardiac time is amazing. So that's fantastic. I'd also like to thank everyone for being here. I don't say that lightly. I hear everything that you guys are saying, and I take it to heart, and I'm doing my homework. Also, everybody, I think in Trenton, got this week. I want you to pay attention to our celebration schedule. We have lots of activities going on in the park. We have Earth and Arbor Day, April 25th. So take note of that and bring all your stuff that you need to get rid of. All right? That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Montgomery.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank Reverend Keith Reisner for a wonderful prayer. I've known him for many years, and he loves God. And I was asked to be a part of the sunrise service that is happening on Sunday. It's at 7 o'clock, and it's over at the cemetery.
Butler County Memorial.
Thank you. And if you've never been to a sunrise service, this would be something you would enjoy. It's great because you get to watch the sunrise, and there's a cross there, and it reminds me of the empty cross, because Christ gave his life for us on the cross, but he's no longer hanging there. And when I go there, that's what I think of. I'm glad that everything is coming together at the park again. It's one of my favorite things to go to. I'm done.
Thank you, Mrs. Montgomery. Mr. Nichols.
Just like to thank everybody for being here, and for those of you that don't believe me when I say that, I'm sorry you feel that way, but we like to see people out here, and we like to see bringing concerns to us. It gets kind of old sitting up here and looking out and seeing nobody but the police chief sitting out there. That's the way it was for a long time, and even if people are upset with us, it's good to see them coming and getting active in the community. The one thing that I would say, though, is a couple people brought up that they didn't feel they were being respected by council. But I have to tell you, the other night, I was not part of the planning commission meeting. I came to it. I used to be on the planning commission. Mr. Prophet's taken over that position as the council member on there. But I was interested, so I came to the meeting. After the meeting, I stayed around and talked to a couple people for a few minutes. I went to walk out to my truck. I heard somebody yell my name. So I turned around and I walked back up to the about 15 people or so that was standing there, and was immediately called a liar to my face. So the respect needs to go both ways. I've said here and said I don't know how many times, I'm more than willing to talk with anyone, and you may not like my answers, but they'll be the truth, and I stand by that statement. As far as the guys from the fire department, I appreciate everything those guys do. Being a retired paramedic myself, I've been in that situation, and that's not an easy situation to be in for sure. And those guys having the ability to call another department for more assistance is one of the best feelings in the world when that door of that ambulance opens up and some more help steps in. So I want to especially thank the guys from Middletown that responded and helped out. And I think that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Croucher.
I'd like to thank Pastor Keith for the prayer. Also thank the PD for having coffee with the cop tomorrow. Look forward to being down there with you at 7 o'clock State Street. Thanks to the fire department in Middletown and City of Trenton, which I know the professionality of them. They've came to my house. It's great to have a good EMT and fire department. You guys have no idea unless I got to come to your house and take care of one of your loved ones.
Or yourself.
Or yourself. It is Good Friday tomorrow. I'd like to wish everybody a Good Friday, happy Good Friday, and a happy Easter. Find a church of your preference. Go to it. I'm not one of the most every Sunday morning going individuals, but I will be going this Sunday. Other than that, I'd like to thank the residents of Trenton for showing up tonight and speaking. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Croucher. I'd like to start off by wishing everyone a happy Easter, and I don't know how to say a Good Friday, but we'll say a Good Friday and a happy Easter. That's I'd also like to thank everybody involved. At first, when we were doing the cardiac thing, I said, I'm glad that we have these. And then again, I'm not glad that we have them at the same time. It's kind of a weird thing, but I'd like to thank everybody involved. As always, our first responders are world class, and we're lucky to have them here. And then I'd like to go into a little bit of the community as a whole. So what I have noticed is there's a lot of participation coming here, but as I've said in meetings in the past, I hope this continues when it goes into events around. And I understand maybe there's some hard feelings with the city, so you don't want to volunteer for city events, but Trenton Soccer needs people like crazy. So does the Baseball Association. So do the churches. So do all of that. By all means, come here and voice your opinion about this, but also care about your community when it comes to actually doing things and volunteering. Because I don't know how many events that I've went to where you have 3 or 4 volunteers that show up, a lot don't show up, and they're stuck shorthanded. So like I've told Barry on a few events, we may disagree on this issue, but we can all come together to make the community better in other ways. And I hope that's what we do, and I hope that's how we go forward. And with that, I will entertain a motion that we adjourn tonight's proceedings.
Second.
Councilman Rourke and Councilman Nichols. Roll call, please.
Mr. Rourke?
Yay.
Mr. Nichols?
Yay.
Vice Mayor Croucher?
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery?
Yay.
Mr. Prophet?
Yay.
Ms. Butts?
Yay.
Mayor Perry?
Yay. We are adjourned at 8:53 p.m. Thank you and have a good week.